Welcome to Milestone Moments, the show where we explore the journeys that lead to success. I'm Sheila Slick, your host and founder of 5 Milestones. In every episode, we will bring you insights from the minds of entrepreneurs, leaders, and experts who will share not just their expertise, but the milestone moments that have reshaped their journeys and led to significant achievements. So if you're looking for motivation, you're in the right place. Subscribe now and discover the milestones that mark the path to success. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Milestone Moments in Business and Leadership. And today, my special guest is Logan Hughes, CEO of Height Digital in Manchester, New Hampshire, who transitioned from 8 years in medical services to successful entrepreneur. His digital marketing side hustle turned into a thriving business, leading him to an Inc. 5000 recognition twice. As a family man, Logan advocates for work-life balance, as well as mentors professionals for entrepreneurial and mindset development. Welcome to the show, Logan.
Sheila, thank you for having me. That's a wonderful intro. I appreciate it.
So you transitioned from the medical field to entrepreneurship. Can you tell us about that pivotal moment that led you to this new path?
I will give you the short story on that. So I love to speak around mindset. It's been a very important part of my journey here. So there came a point where I'm a creative person at heart. I love to create. I love to design. I love to make music. This is who I am. So luckily, I got a job with my cousin in medical device sales and was there for a while. Money, paid well, insurance, everything that you could possibly imagine allowed me to buy my own first place and whatnot. And live a really good life. But it came several years into this. I always say this, but I kind of felt like my soul was being sucked from my body. Like it was like I was just working on Excel sheets all day, and I wasn't feeling that fulfillment. And I was really depressed. And one thing that I started looking into and started reading some books around mindset. I started writing in my journal daily. I will leave my 9 to 5 job and start my own job. I didn't know what that job was at the time, but I wrote in that daily for a year. Along that journey, I kind of found my way into social media management, which I was like, this is pretty cool. I can be creative. I can help business out. It's a win-win. And then I found my love, which eventually became website design and doing that whole thing. But every single day I wrote in my journal, I'm going to leave my 9 to 5 job for a full year. Come January, I didn't leave. I was scared. And at the time, I had my side hustle, which was, social media management and some website design stuff. I had maybe like a couple $1,000s coming in. It wasn't anything, to blink at, but it was something there. And so I didn't make the move. And then a couple weeks later, my boss cousin pulls me into my office, in his office, and was like, Logan, unfortunately, your job is being phased out. We're going to give you 3 months to kind of figure things out, which is nice, helping family out. To me, that was a pivotal moment. That was from a mindset perspective, being like, I wrote in my journal every single day. I visualized what that would feel like, and I didn't make the move. Here's the universe, here's God, whoever, kicking you in the butt, saying it's time to make that jump. So I went all in. I left my full-time job. I had some money coming in. I had to figure things out like insurance and benefits and how I was going to be able to support my family at the time. But thank God I did. It's been a wonderful experience, and looking back on it, it was definitely the right move. So,
Well, the next question I had for you is what were some of those challenges you faced transitioning from side hustle into a thriving business?
some of the challenges were that I faced, which I found out towards a year into this, was you have to pay taxes. I wasn't keeping my books in place. So when it came down to the end of the year and I was operating as a freelancer, I didn't have my QuickBooks done. I wasn't financially savvy. So that was a major kick in the butt that I was like, okay, if I need to do this, I need to act accordingly and actually act like I have a business. So that was the biggest thing, I think, for me during that time, was having to dive in and learn the basics of putting your books together and, having to pay taxes because, at the end of that year, I got stuck with a decent amount of money that I had to pay. And I was like, I'm never going to do that again. But yeah, that was the biggest challenge that I faced at the time was how do I sort of turn this freelancer mentality into what would actually be a sustainable business.
So Height Digital Manchester emphasizes creativity in its approach. Can you share a strategy that led to a success story for one of your clients?
There's been a lot of these. I love working with other agencies in itself, right? So our Height Digital, our team consists of around 200 people. It's a really large agency, and we have a lot of great data that we know works because we have franchises across the country. So we know what's working in Oregon with a specific business, probably does work in New Hampshire. Obviously, this changes the demographic location. I partnered up with a fabulous woman, and she works primarily with dentists, doing a lot of implants. And when she started with us, and she was using us as sort of the fulfillment for this client, I think when we started with them, they were around $800,000 a year. And this was like a general dentistry type of place. Within 1 year of working with us, with doing both SEO and Google ads, I believe this past year he rose to 5.4 million in the year and moved to solely implants. So we've grown their business, tenfold, and everyone's very, very happy with the results.
So when they focused just on those implants, was that partly a result of what people were clicking on Google or booking services for?
Yeah, great question. They always had that as a service, but definitely that's the big money maker right there, right? So the more that we were able to generate, leads specifically for implants, they not only, grew their practice, but hired a couple other dentists underneath them, grew their business to, adding additional secretaries. They're now Spanish speaking as well. So that's a little great market to kind of tap into, but certainly through keyword research and working hand in hand with practice and this other agency because that's really what she's worked like 20 plus years in that industry. She knows exactly what's happening. So, and that's really a big part of overall marketing, which I love a lot, is that it's not just about SEO, it's not just about PPC, these things here. It's more so about communication and building a relationship and partnership, right? So, I don't want it to seem when I'm working with a client that they're just outsourcing it to me and there's nothing there. My job is to make sure that I'm a facet into your business. I want to make sure that you can rely on me like I'm a regular employee. Obviously there's some small things there, but I try to build that relationship and partnership as much as I can. So that was a great result that we had, certainly.
Well, we make smart decisions when we have that data.
Yes. Yep.
Doing your own Google ads can be quite difficult. I always tell people find an expert in the Google ads. You'll probably get a better return on your investment than just winging it.
Yes, yeah. So, yeah. Real quick about that. There's so many times that if you run a business, most likely you'll get a notification from Google saying, "Hey, here's $500 free credit." Right? We've seen that time and time again, and what they're actually doing, that dashboard is a little bit different than the actual ads account, the ads manager account in the back end. So when we run ads, it's not just a simple, here's just one ad. There's multiple levels to that. So certainly, if you have any questions regarding anything Google related, Google and Facebook are really good about taking money if you're not sure what you're doing. So you just want to make sure that you get to generate the most ROI for your business.
So does a business like you also specialize in Google Analytics?
Yes, Google Analytics is a extremely important platform to have, not only from PPC, but we use it with SEO and Facebook ads as well. There's a lot of tracking that you can find in Google Analytics that you just can't find within Search Console or even Facebook Ads Manager. They do pretty good things in their own, but Google Analytics has a really you can find out really specific information. So we use it quite a bit for obviously everything PPC, anything that you're spending ads on, we use it for, as well as SEO for sure.
So is there one specific thing we should look out for in those reports that sticks out more than any of the other terms?
I kind of like to with the analytic portion, you can dive in and take a look a lot of around the pages that are being shown a lot, pages that are being clicked to and generating the most traffic to. I always like to emphasize those, obviously the homepage being one of them for service-based businesses. A lot of them, if you don't have this page, is an FAQ page, right? Especially for trade businesses or service businesses, really FAQ page is super important, right? And testimonial pages. So you're able to see the pages that are generating a lot of traffic. You're also able to see the pages that aren't. And when we comb through our actual, say, SEO report, we can determine and see the actual search queries that people are searching for. And if there's not traffic being sent from those keywords, we want to make sure that we're generating content based on those keywords, right? So to improve the click-through rate and so forth. So we see exterior painting near me is being shown as a keyword that's being searched for, and there's no click-through rate, there's no traffic. That's us being like, okay, well, we need to create a page, a location page or service page around that search term, as well as create content for that as well. That's one way to really take a look at that and really make sure that you're providing Google with some great information that's really going to help you out.
Well, thank you for those insights. I'm going to go do my FAQ. I don't have my frequently asked questions.
Yes,
That was
super important.
So let's talk about family. Balancing family life with the demands of entrepreneurship can be challenging. So how do you personally manage and prioritize your work-life balance? And any advice you'd want to share to entrepreneurs striving for the same?
Yeah, great question. And it's a work in progress. It always is. There's the other day my son comes home at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and there's some times where 6 o'clock rolls around, I'm checking my phone for emails, right? And I'm like, ooh, I need to kind of pull back away from that. I learned a lot, and I learned really quickly. And the reason why I got into entrepreneurship in the first place, starting my own business, because I wanted that freedom. Everyone talks about freedom, but I wanted that for my family. I wanted to be able to spend time with my child and my wife, and just have that time, right? So one thing that I learned rather quickly, and this came from a good mentor of mine, was establishing a transition period between your work day and personal day. So what that looks like for me is that whenever I end the day, let's say 5 o'clock, and I build in a 30-minute sort of block where I either go for a walk, go outside, I read a book, meditate, whatever it may be, just to decompress my workday and transition into family time where I can be present. A lot of that helps with when I'm done with the day, making sure that I kind of do a brain dump. I kind of jot down things that went well, but I've also planned my next day. So I'm not waking up in the morning. I'm not thinking later on tonight that, oh man, I got to do this, I got to do that. I have it all down, so I know what my tomorrow looks like. I'm able to sort of, be clear of that and focus and be more present. So I love to have a transition period between work and your family life, especially when working from home. It's one thing if you have a 9 to 5 and you're going into office and you have that driving time. Right across from me is my son's crib, right? So I have to be really cognizant of that and have that transition period. So that's really what's helped me sort of have that balancing act.
Sounds like it clears your mind. I
Yes.
do it before. I normally do it in the morning. I hadn't thought about doing it as a transition between the two. So let's talk about that Inc. 5000 recognition. Height
Yeah.
Digital Manchester has achieved the recognition twice.
Hmm.
So what are some of the strategies that contributed to achieving this prestigious recognition?
So I'm just incredibly grateful and blessed to be a part of this company, first and foremost. I think a lot of it has to do with the team that you have surrounded with. I had my own previous agency before this. It was Seventh Level Media. It was just myself and a couple other people that were, freelancers themselves. And I got in a really good position because I merged my existing agency with Type Digital that, I went from having no systems in place, really no manpower, to having full blown staff, right? So I just want to first say that I'm just grateful for still having the opportunity to be with these guys. But it's a lot about the team, the support system have in place and really networking. I wouldn't have gotten in this position if I haven't really connected and networked my ass off to find people out there, and they finally approached me to join this agency. But it's a support system, and the ability to network, I think, is something that attributed to this. I'm just a small component of overall agency life in this business. There's a lot of people that just are tremendous at what they do. So it's certainly a team effort. To get to my position, if you want to say that, it's really about being open-minded and networking and growing a really sustainable team that you love and just have the same sort of core values that you have.
So what's your next milestone?
Yeah, it's a great question. I hate to put money on this. Like I'm not someone that's like, oh, I want to grow my business to this much. That would be nice. I do have those tangible goals. I think this kind of falls a little bit more in line with myself personally. I definitely want to, trying to have another child on the way, and growing my family, and just spending time with my loved ones, and traveling a lot more. Now I know that from a business perspective, always trying to do $1 million a year in revenue, sort of halfway there now, and just kind of looking to grow that side of things. But personally, it's growing my family and just trying to travel a little bit more, spend time with my parents and everyone. So that's probably my biggest goal so far.
So my last question, and as a mentor who guides professionals on entrepreneurial and mindset development, what one piece of advice can you share with my audience that you often use with your mentees?
It's a great question. It's funny because I asked that on my episode, my podcast quite a bit. That's usually the last question that I ask, and it's funny getting put it on the other side of this. I love to start with the mindset portion of this. With anyone comes my way as a mentor, I think everything starts from a mindset point of view, right? So there's different practices that we use to find out why you are looking to get into entrepreneurship. Why are you looking to start the business? And I forgot who came up with the strategy, but there's 7 questions, right? You ask, why are you starting a business? And you're like, okay, well, why are you really doing that? And why you're doing that, right? It's a practice that I love doing, because you get to a point where you should get to that why should literally make you cry, right? It should be something that's so ingrained with you that you're like, this is why. And that's something that you can use any time in life. When things go really bad in business, you can pull that out. When things are not great, relationship or family, you can pull that out, right? And you just kind of go back to it. So whenever I'm talking with a younger entrepreneur or business owner, they still don't really have that why. And it's my job to kind of help them walk them through that, to be able to really determine what that is. I think that's going to be the ultimate motivator on whether or not their business will succeed or not succeed in the long run. So when I'm talking with young entrepreneurs, or being a mentor to the younger generation, I would say it starts a lot with the mindset and working on finding out what that why is.
So you have a podcast, you have a website. How can our audience follow your journey?
So yeah, you can reach me right on Facebook. I love talking on Facebook. That's probably where I'm at most, throughout all platforms. Logan Hughes, you see a bright green background with a goofy looking face on there. That's me. My podcast is the Get a Job Podcast. That's just the getajobpodcast.com. You can find me on heightdigital.com/Manchester, New Hampshire. But yeah, if you have any questions, or feel free to reach out about anything, marketing related, or chatting about mindset, whatever I can do to be of service to others. I'm there to help. So yeah, find me on Facebook.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Sheila. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And thank you all for tuning in. If you like these episodes, please follow 5 Milestones in Business and Leadership. And for more information, visit 5milestones.com.